Wrist injuries can end your esports career fast. Let RBT help you avoid that. Imagine this scenario. You're up on the stage, surrounded by a crowd of people you couldn't possibly count if you wanted to, all chanting your name at the top of their lungs. And then there's the big stunning check next to you that's got your name printed up top, with enough zeros to match the exploits of your mightiest raids in Rust. Sounds like a pipe dream, right? Yet that's the reality for many of the top players in the world of esports. The industry is buzzing with investments. Top earners are bringing in revenues north of several $1 million a year. Even universities are going all in by offering scholarships to attract the top players for their teams. So if you've decided to dedicate your life to the world of esports, or at least a big part of it, we can definitely see why. A career in esports has never been more achievable at any other point of time in history. At the risk of sounding like a boring parent who worries too much, however, we must point out one painful fact. Most esports careers are short-lived. In fact, gaming careers have a lifespan shorter than 99% of sports out there. And yours may become a part of that sad statistic if you don't do something about it. The brutal reality of esports. The year was 2006. News broke out that Joel Zumaya, the famous Detroit Tigers baseball pitcher, will be pulling out of the next game because of an injury. Normally this wouldn't make for a headline. Athletes get injured all the time. But what caught the attention of masses all over the world was the cause of injury. Apparently, Joel didn't hurt his arm by throwing blazing fast baseballs, but it was a heated session of the once popular game Guitar Hero that did the trick. The world couldn't contain its laughter. The irony of a baseball pitcher getting injured playing a video game amused the masses to no end. The thinking was, how can you serve hundreds of pitches unscathed but get injured playing a video game while sitting on your butt? Well, one look at the ruthlessly competitive world of modern esports will give you the answer. Today, pro gamers spend upwards of 12 hours per day to keep their skills sharp and ready. And we're not talking about random feats of lofty training sessions here either. Thousands of hours of practice per year is nothing out of the ordinary. In fact, no one would balk at those numbers in the world of professional gaming. But it's not just the duration of practice, but the intensity as well. Many games today require upwards of 300 ultra-precise actions per minute. Multiply that by 10 to 12 hours of daily practice, and you get to see why most esports superstars end up retiring at the tender age of 25 years only. Name one other sport where athletes retire at 25 and the average career is 2 years long. We bet you can't think of a single one off the top of your head. That's just how brutal modern esports is. There are a number of medical conditions that end gaming careers so early. But there's one in particular that keeps propping up time after time. The silent killer of esports careers. Remember the last time you were absolutely killing it in a late-night marathon of CSGO, but then your wrist started hurting? Well, you just got a slight taste of the old carpal tunnel syndrome, or as we like to call it, the silent killer of esports careers. Here's how it happens. There's a narrow tunnel that runs from your wrist to your hands. It contains a nerve called the mid-arm nerve along with several small vessels that carry oxygen and nutrients over. Normally, your carpal tunnel is wide enough to work just fine. But after literally thousands of mouse clicks in a gaming marathon, your tendons swell up and start pinching your nerves. The result? You start feeling that all too common, falling asleep, sensation in your hand and wrist. The thing that makes gamers particularly susceptible to this condition is the whole energy of a gaming session. You're in the middle of a killing streak, so you forget about the pain altogether and keep pushing. This can go on for sessions, but sooner or later, it can turn into a serious problem, one that can and does end entire gaming careers. Fortunately, there's a lot you can do to keep your hands and wrists safe. Take the destiny of your gaming career in your hands. Most people will tell you to take generous breaks and do some physical activities. Most companies will try to sell you on the next genius innovation in ergonomics to keep your clicking hand a tad bit less pressured. Here's the thing though. While those solutions are better than nothing, that's still like trying to fix a gaping cut on your skin by putting band-aids on it. Ouch. What you need is a professional solution that's a complete game changer. And with the QuadraClicks RBT mouse, that's exactly what you get. Just give us a minute to explain. You see, when the mouse was originally invented, it was made for professionals who'd use it standing. It wasn't until computers were small enough to fit a corner of our bedrooms that the general public got access to them. But for some bizarre reason, no one ever thought to change the design for the new normal. people sitting for hours on end, bashing the buttons of their mouse like life is a clicker game. Unfortunately, each of those clicks has a high cost due to the fundamental flaw in the design of the typical mouse. You have to curl your fingers to execute each click, which puts a tremendous amount of pressure on your muscles, tendons, and nerves. Multiply that with literally millions of clicks a professional player like yourself will do each year, and you can see why the typical mouse is going to give you nothing but a bad case of carpal tunnel syndrome. The Quadra-Clicks RBT difference. With the Quadra-Clicks RBT mouse, it's a whole different story. Our mouse is designed from the ground up to keep your hands safe and comfy throughout the day. Instead of curling your fingers for each click, all you need is to move the base of your fingers and the mouse will heed your command, no tendon pressure needed whatsoever. In case you're not feeling particularly creative, let us paint a pretty picture of what that means for you. Imagine practicing with your mates for literally 12 hours without any tingling sensations in your fingers or soring of your wrist. Not only will you perform better, but you'll be able to keep going for longer than anybody else. Though we must warn you, you're going to get lots of fancy hacker names thrown at you after your kill rates suddenly go soaring up the charts. Nonetheless, with the RBT mouse, you can take the destination of your gaming career literally in your hands, pun intended. In fact, many of our customers say it feels like a natural extension of their hands. Order yours today to see how that feels.